I haven't heard that intro in a long time. I love it.
You've been slacking.
Oh, dude, I know.
Is that just because we haven't been making podcasts?
Well, we're announcing it today. Michael Hill here and I are going to be doing a podcast 3 times a week for 4 hours each day. Just kidding.
And I must have been really drunk when I agreed to that.
You were pretty good drunk when we were golfing, but
classic overcommit from Michael.
Yeah.
But we are going to commit. We have committed to. I was very so. It comes about in a lot of different ways. I was very committed to when I was helping Faz out and doing his podcast and doing that stuff. I was committed on Thursdays. In reality, when Faz stopped doing his own podcast, that's when I was like, I kind of was like, okay, well, I'm going to just do my own, right? So, which I've been doing anyway. But then I didn't have the commitment of I need somebody else on the other side. Otherwise, I get just so caught up in everything else that's going on. There's so much stuff that's happening. So Michael Hill here and we usually do pretty good podcasts. I think people enjoy it. And really, it's probably because his sexy voice, not really my knowledge. And he also has more knowledge than I do. He's amazing. Like we should change your name to the DGen Master or something like that, because he always got the great ones. But we're going to try and do every other week. And I'm going to stop saying try. We are going to do every other week.
I can commit to every other week during the summer, and then when the kids go back to school, I can do weekly.
Oh, boom. There you go, guys. See? And
when the kids go back to school.
It'll be fun. We've got something on the screen here that is going to be a big topic today. Most everybody that's going to listen to this knows that Gala announced there. And I want to be clear that this is all my personal opinion and Michael's personal opinion and what's going on, and Blake that's here. Nothing is set in stone yet. So this is all, to put it in the words of Brink, is up for discussion into what this proposal is going to be put forth for. So, and it's a governance proposal. What it says here: implementing a node-based cumulative lifetime point structure with new logarithmic function and advanced decentralization. So I want to point out a couple things first. The decentralization part is their key thing, because when Brink keeps talking about stuff, he keeps talking about decentralization, and that's their main goal. Okay. Which is great. I'm all for decentralization. I love it. I mean, that's why I started NerdNode. I wanted to create a truly decentralized node network that is there to be able to host or allow people to use it. We have a lot of big plans for it. And that was accumulation of Gala, like that came from Gala itself, the node side there, and is just expanded from that. So there's two. So decentralization is a big one. We'll get that one in a second. The other big one that was dropped in here is, and it was kind of hidden. There's basically 2 lines, and it's towards the bottom. It basically just says we're going to implement an honor system, essentially. So they're splitting it up into points, and your node, you're going to get your base points. It's always going to be there. And then there's going to be bonus points, and those bonus points are going to be equal to the same points, but you earn those bonus points by running your nodes, running less nodes per account, mind you. So the node owners, such as myself, Black Harp, and other people that we know who have multiple nodes, are going to get dinged. And that's this. You can see the proposal. It has the little. These are examples, mind you. This nothing here again is set in stone yet. So you can see here the 1 point, nodes 5.7 times log 10 to the 1 plus 1 is 1 point. So if you're running one node, you get 1 extra point for that.
Yep.
If you're running 2 nodes, you get 1.7 points. So you're going to, as you increase your nodes, you still get more in distribution, but percentage wise, or it benefits the lower node owner, the guy that owns, the least amount. I get it. Ideal situation, 50 billion or 50,000 nodes are on 50,000 individual machines owned by all individual people, right? That's the perfect scenario, which would never happen. But driving to that point is, I get it, and I totally understand it. Great. So let's discuss it a little bit.
Okay.
What's your first? This is you read through it. I sent you a message. I'm like, hey, we got something to talk about tomorrow.
You did, and then I didn't really read any of this. I did catch up on Discord and sort of I know enough about it to get through the rest of this podcast.
Well, and this is all discussion.
I think one of the big questions that was kind of thrown out on the Discord was, are they making the nodes transferable as part of this proposal? In which case, major node owners could play the system to a degree, but that's probably going to get policed out fairly quickly. You know, if I have, say, a couple of hundred founders nodes, and then all of a sudden I put them each into their own individual Gala accounts.
Right.
I know Gala internally tracks connected accounts, and so are they going
it's easy to make an account that's not connected though. Like outside of that
once you
node
transfer the node, if the node was there, then they're already flagging that and saying, okay, well that node went there,
right?
And now those two accounts are either related for long term, or they were related in this one particular transaction.
One way or the other, yeah.
One way or the other,
yeah.
Then it does not take much, and you probably have the technology and the software already to say, well, where's all the Gala that's being generated by those nodes going? And so you're not going to be doing it, if you have 200 nodes, you're not doing it. Each one of those is going to be one single account, doing to a distribution account, getting converted into whatever.
Yeah.
Well, or staying as Gala, which I think is part of the honor system and the.
So that's point, right? So your first initial thought was mine as well. Like, okay, so we're going to implement this honor system to where you're running a node, but you can't take any of the rewards out. Otherwise you get dinged, right? Because, we want to keep it in the system. Two things. One, okay, great. Well, if I'm a large node owner and I know I'm already going to get hit with this proposal that goes through, I need to maximize my, my investment, because that's what it is. And I need to be able to
investment. Running nodes has an overhead.
100%,
and
right?
So, the reward structure for running the node is net of the overhead of maintaining the node itself.
Yeah.
And even if you went on AWS and you went down to the minimum specs, you're still talking $30 a month.
Yeah.
Per node minimum.
Yeah.
I mean, on Vulture, you might be able to get it a little bit less.
Which Nerd Node's only 25, so that's pretty cheap.
Yeah. You're great. We love Nerd Node. I'm just saying for the general community. I mean, they could all come to Nerd Node, and sure enough, make an extra $5 a month because they're not paying 30 to that.
Come on in, but they're going to get dinged by taking money out to be able to pay this service fee.
Right? So that does not make perfect sense.
Agree, but it is moving them in the direction of what they want, right? They want somebody to run it on their own individual team, their own individual machine in their own individual house, because even when you go to AWS,
whether it's AWS or not,
I agree,
still has an overhead.
I agree, but it's way less overhead than it is through AWS. I mean, the nodes don't take anything, dude. You can run it in the background; it doesn't do crap.
You can, but I'm talking about these people who are buying these nodes and thinking, well, this is
maybe they shouldn't have nodes then.
Potentially not.
Yeah,
that doesn't seem very decentralized, though, does it?
Well, I mean, there's still enough people out there. You sift through them, you can find enough people that can run it on their own machine at home. Look, I'm arguing.
That wasn't the point when they started. The point was definitely to have the small guy benefit from the.
I'm trying to argue the other side. I'm a large node owner. People know that. I have a lot of nodes, so I am vested in this vote,
right,
as I am in every vote that comes through. So I'm just trying to argue and look at the other side as well, and not immediately vilify what they're doing to make it look like it's just for their own benefit. Right? I love the idea of a decentralized network, and if I believe that Gala is going to be doing good things, why wouldn't I want them to have a decentralized network? One, what does their node do?
Up until recently, it just pinged another server and said, I'm online.
Yeah. Well, what does it do recently?
Great question. Don't know.
The same thing. That's what Yeah. So
I might have missed something in the last couple of
no,
months.
you didn't.
Where it was actually doing something, but right now
No.
it's just a heartbeat, right? Just a ping,
It's,
ping, ping.
I mean, it's a little more than a
online.
heartbeat. There's like green nodes are a heartbeat, right? They're
Right.
literally just heartbeat, but there's a little bit more to it. But
then, I mean, the music nodes and the film nodes, they actually do something, and then ultimately, and then spider text nodes do something.
Music takes a ton of resources.
Mhm.
Spider tank nodes, they allow people to have. They actually don't do anything, in the fact that they're just getting rewarded for having a node, so they get drop pods. So the node still doesn't do anything.
But the actual NFT for like the base and stuff has to be hosted on a node, right? No.
Nope.
Just it's pinging the account that the node's in,
Yeah,
and saying that exists. So it's all database. So
it's all database. Really... They're Web 2, dude. They're not Web 3 yet. Like,
No.
And are they going to get there? I don't know. But going back to the decentralization side, right? Like, these nodes don't do anything, right? So decentralizing the network, what does that do for you? Nothing. What does it matter? That has nothing to do there until you actually create a node that is doing something besides just distributing Gala right now.
So
and if it's just distributing Gala,
where did this proposal come from? Did this come from Gala directly, or did it come from a community based?
Nope, Gala directly. Yeah, they've been doing they're actually, Brink's been doing his little AMA thing right now on Gala.
Right.
So most people are probably listening to that and not this, which is fine.
Which is fine. Like, this is being recorded. They can watch this.
Oh
later.
yeah. This will come out and be on.
It's just very interesting to me, is like, because this is what the fifth iteration of the node structure proposal, right?
I
mean, over
it's
4
been
years.
quite a few. Yeah, there's been quite a few.
Coming back to where is this? How's this distribution meant to be going? How are we dialing it in?
Right, because when we first got in a long time ago, we were getting 25%, and Gala was getting 75% of this distribution. Then they switched it to a 50-50, and that wasn't a vote. They just said, here, we're going to make it 50-50. And then it went back to like 25, 75 or something like that. Then there was a node vote that went to some stuff to make it 50-50 again. And then they talked about making a bonus pool, and then a whole bunch of other things that have gone down. Well, none of those votes have actually been implemented. And
despite having been voted for by the community, or
correct.
Right.
So they shouldn't even be called node votes. They should just be called, a community feeling.
Mm-hmm.
How does the node community feel about this proposal? Right? Because they're all just proposals. It's not like anything goes through. And even with other votes, when you start talking about games and stuff, they've came out and said, oh, if you vote no on this, well, we're just going to push it through. There was, I can't remember the name of it, but there was one game that got voted no on, and it got pushed. It's no. It was like this weird, like, emotional game you go through. Like, I don't even remember. It's probably why I voted no on it. And then, but they pushed it through because they sold NFTs for it, or NFTs somewhere. But node owners didn't get the drop for it because they voted no on it.
Is it Town Crush?
No. It's like, it's none of the games that you actually see on the actual Gala Games site.
Is it Meow Match?
I only wish. So decentralization. Now, can you go to the sheet, Blake?
Yeah.
So when we look at decentralizing the actual, if that's their first and foremost, they keep talking about decentralizing the network. Okay, so first off, why do you need to decentralize the network? We already covered it. They don't do shit anyway right now. So, decentralize it before it does stuff. Great, I understand that. So if we look at sample data, Blake has highlighted the top 40 accounts right now. Actually, how many total nodes are in the top 40 accounts right there?
I wonder if I can do I wonder if I have the ability to do
just highlight it and it'll tell you the number. Yeah. What is that? 18,200 essentially.
So it's about.
Yeah.
So out of the total amount of nodes out there, that's 36% of the total nodes. Now, that's total nodes less ones that are to be sold through Gala, right? There's 36,000 that have been sold, something like that.
Correct.
So that's 50. It's over 50%. So half of the nodes that are owned by people are in the top 40. Now it's even more concentrated when you look at the top two, right? Obviously, we know Eric Schumacher is the top one. Most likely, Wright is the number 2 one. That's 14,000 nodes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just shy.
30% of the total nodes. Actually, it's probably 40% of the total nodes that are out there. So they're already getting 40% of the distribution now that they're running their nodes.
Right.
Wright just turned his on recently after the last little node or the V2 update. Who knows what's going on there? So okay, we want to decentralize that. Well, those are the first 2 accounts that you need to decentralize, and you have direct contact with those people because they're internal to Gala. So what is their thoughts on this, on moving this forward? One, and then how are you going to get them to move their nodes? Well, you have to make them into NFTs.
Correct.
So that's the first thing you should do, right? Turn them into NFTs. So that way,
or they could do the right thing and just take them all offline and let them sit there.
Was there a pun intended there? The right thing?
They don't need to be running these. They both make quite a lot of money already. That's all I'm saying.
True, very true. But I will argue that they are founders of a company and they have all rights to do that. And, by all means, do it. So, but, how do you get those out of their hands? That should be the first and foremost. I mean, I'm in that. When we look at top 40s, I'm in there.
Yep.
A couple times. So
I have a vested interest in the top 40.
Yeah. So I get it. Do you want me to decentralize my nodes? Great. Well, then incentivize me to decentralize my node, right? If that's your true purpose, then incentivize me to decentralize my node. Don't. I mean, I've been here for the long run. I've invested millions into Gala.
Absolutely.
Put millions of dollars into Gala. So why am I getting hurt or punished? If you want to, I fully support decentralization. Don't punish me.
That's the difference between technology.
Help me
technologically decentralizing, right?
Yeah.
It's like I know how Node runs their nodes.
Right.
I know how a lot of these people probably run their nodes.
Yes.
And they're on single boxes and they're being rotated and they're doing everything. They've optimized for distribution instead of optimized for decentralization. Like I used to run a lot of these nodes in a very decentralized way all around the world, and they were in data centers for AWS in Africa and across Europe. That's technologically decentralized. So you're getting, if they did anything, if they did anything, they would, there is some optimization there in terms of somebody from wherever is pinging the closest node, and it's not in LA,
right?
It's not in Oregon, it's in a country very close to them, and, and there's a performance boost there. But the reward structure for that is meaningless, I think, if
there's nothing that the node's actually doing in the first place, or if it's still
there's an
concentrated at the top, right?
Well,
so you have two
risk as well with this. Is if you suddenly had 50,000 nodes and they're all being run by 50,000 separate people, and you need those 50,000 nodes online, you decentralize them. They're not making any money, or they're not making enough money to be interesting. People just don't give a shit and they turn them off. All of a sudden you're down to 10,000 nodes.
Hey, Blake,
a network that needs 50,000 nodes to operate.
Make sure you're looking at the comments too, and like if there's stuff that we need to address, like just kind of post it on the bottom so we can look at it. So I'm not trying to look at this screen, so I can give Michael my full attention.
I'll let you know.
So there's the two decentralizations, right? There's the technological decentralization, and then there's the ownership or the personal ownership of the nodes.
The benefit throughput decentralization. Correct. Which this seems like this is coming from a place of, well, in order to look good, we want as many people to benefit from the business that we've built and the network we've built. But realistically, nobody's going to benefit from it if it isn't there.
Correct.
And you suddenly force people to have one node per account in order to maximize their points. And then we sell them because they've been tokenized and they just don't come back online. And then all of a sudden, I would like to know, and I don't know, but I would like to know where the structure from this proposal came from.
Internal.
Right, but my point is, I don't necessarily believe that it was organic. In that, I think that it's probably taken from another chain's basis, and I'm pointing at Ethereum probably, or
Yeah.
potentially Solana.
Yeah.
You know, they're trying to normalize the Gala chain to some other bigger.
Of course, they're going to look at all the other chains that
Yeah.
are out there. That what are they doing right and what are they doing wrong, so they can implement on their chain. And again, decentralize it, but don't hurt the people. Incentivize them to decentralize it. Right
And
now,
again, there's two different parts to decentralizing it.
Yeah,
the
yeah.
technological decentralization, and then there's the reward structure and the benefit of maintaining the network.
Correct.
Decentralization. And I think you're only motivating anybody in this top 40 to do anything at this point. If they're saying, okay, well, we're done giving you guys all the props and and you guys benefiting from all your investment in this network. So we don't care. We only got here because of you, but we don't care anymore.
Yeah.
And then there's the technological part, which is, okay, if we can clock that you have two nodes running on one box, give me a logarithmic ding on it, right?
Yeah.
But if you have 500 nodes and you're running them on 500 different servers globally, that is technologically decentralized.
Technologically, but I can understand wanting it to be out of the hands of one entity, because again, let's look at the top two, right? So what are they going to do? Like you said, they have a lot of money. They don't need this distribution that they're getting from Gala, so they can sit on that forever and accumulate their points for as long as they need to and get that bonus pool forever, right? The people that are running one node, right, or 5 nodes, they probably need that money.
Yeah.
Or they want that money to be, or they need to use it to pay for a VM, that kind of stuff. So you need to incentivize the person as well to offload the amount of nodes that they have or reduce that amount. So there has to be some sort of reason, and that's the penalty that they're putting into play, right? They're penalizing instead of rewarding.
It's already so broken that there's no way to get back from it. It's like, I know guys who are paying $100,000 for these nodes. They make it as a token. I doubt their floor price is much over 3.
Well, distribution went up 4 times last night.
Still is not going to affect anybody.
I would tell you right now,
who already bought early nodes, has already ROI'd out on
agreed.
And so offloading an NFT Gala node at $3,000 is not going to be the top 2. I can guarantee you.
I agree with that. Well, they're not selling anyway, unless there's something internal that's going to get them to get rid of their nodes or move their nodes out. They're not leaving. They're going to sit there because they have their own little beef that's going on. So they're gonna fight to who's going to get more rewards and distribution between the two of them. The idea that, well, let's go back to the price, because right now, I think, what was the distribution? 480, something like that.
Yeah, I thought it was like 489 or 498 or something like that.
So you're making 1176 a day
per node.
So right now, if you're doing a 1 year ROI, I did say the bad word ROI, my bad. It's $4,300 basically. So at current price, current distribution, it's $4,300 that earns in a year. I think you could safely bet that people will pay $8,000 to $10,000 for that node right now. If they were NFTs with that distribution, you could see people paying that. Whether they should or not, it's a whole different story. I think you'll see that floor price be around that $8,000 to $10,000.
Well, it's classic economics, though, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Demand and supply.
100%.
Right?
But guess who's not going to sell that? The guy that bought it for $90,000, or he might, because he's like, I just need to take a loss and get out of here because he's so disappointed with it.
Or he bought him, maybe they ROI'd out already on them.
100%. I like people we know that have bought early on, for $1,000.
Yeah.
$500, whatever it was.
1,500.
Yeah.
They
2, 3, 4, whatever. And they've made enough throughout that they've already made their money. Now it's time they sell it.
Annoying.
And then they're out. Especially when you start talking about having to deal with the honor system that goes into play, right? The honor system really de-incentivizes anybody wanting this node if they're truly looking into what happens with this system. you have to one of two things: either not do your research, or just truly love the idea of their network and are excited for the network and just want to be a part of that network. Look, that's why I got into it in the first place. I wasn't earning shit when I was running nodes. Neither were you. They were worth nothing. We got into it because we believed in the network, like what it was going to do. So that's why I got in. Was it worth anything? At that point in time, as it started to grow, then I got excited. Then I bought more. Then I bought a lot more. So, but when I first got in, it was all about the network, support the network, support our friend, Mike McCarthy, and what they were doing. And
friends that were all here. Were all part of what they were doing and building. And
I only knew Mike McCarthy at the time. So now I know a whole lot more.
Yeah. And there's a whole bunch of them. And a lot of them are right here where we live.
Which is interesting.
Yeah, it is. Well, the genesis of the entire company kind of was here and then
born here. That's why we should call this blockchain Valley. What do we call it? Web3 something? I don't know.
Yeah, I like Blockchain Valley.
A couple of years ago we tried that, and then it didn't really stick. So, and also people left. Okay, well, yeah, I don't know what the future. Well, is this going to go through? I mean, is it one node per account?
So,
is it one vote per account, or is it one vote per node?
It's one vote per node. And it's the vote. They're going to try to put the vote live. They're going to keep the discussion open this week and see what gets fleshed out with certain things. So there's a few things that, one, I want to get an article written from Forge and Crypto. I want to push out some ideas that I have. Like, one is, instead of penalizing the node owners, if you really want to decentralize it, you should give them give them incentivization to move their nodes. Instead, and if that's truly the case, instead of penalizing, because the highest ones, if you're going to penalize, they don't care. They're going to sit on their nodes forever.
Yeah.
But all those people.
What is the actual purpose of this? Is it the technological decentralization distribution of the node network in order to make it a robust global network? Or is it to penalize some of these bigger whales that have a lot of nodes and have had them for a long time, and the company was built on the back of?
Yes. And so, I mean, my idea is, and they've talked about this a lot, is that there's people that take advantage. They've always talked about the people that take advantage of the network, that all they do is take their money out and they sell it. They've always been wanting to get rid of those people, the Roy boys. That's all they're there for. So my thought process, because the one thing that was just slipped in there was the honor system. It's all built around decentralizing the network, but then there's the honor system in there. Is that it's really about the honor system, because we all know Gala sells their Gala, right? They have to pay bills, right? Now, we can get into semantics of should they have that high of bills or not. It is what it is. That's what they're running the company, and they have to pay their bills to run their company. Well, the node owners helped fund the company going forward, right? People that bought nodes, people that bought NFTs, people that bought that stuff to help move the company forward. But now we're penalizing those same people that put the money into the network to grow it to where it's at. You're not anywhere where you're at without them, without any of them. Now
it was not sold as an altruistic investment.
Hell no.
It was not sold at the time of like, hey, we need $100,000 from you for this node.
Yeah.
And yes, they do say, they escape it from the SEC point of view and the Roy Boy kind of conversation or whatever. But they didn't say, hey, you can get a tax break if you give us this money because we're trying to build this blah, blah, blah.
Exactly.
It wasn't, and nobody's doing anything without some personal vested interest in it. And I guarantee you there are not 50,000 gamers out there who just want to run a node so that they can make sure that
for $100,000.
For $100,000. So that spider tanks can run slowly.
No, and so in reality, I think that's what a lot of it was put in for, was for this not KYC, because he came out and said that KYC is probably not going to be a thing, actually. So, but it is the idea that they need to control the outflow of Gala so they can have the majority of liquidity that's coming out, because they have to pay their bills and they have such a large overhead. Whether they should or not, that's besides the point. I'm just saying they do have a large overhead. They have to pay that, and they're using Gala to do that. And we see them mint it and send it to Binance frequently, like a lot. So we know that that's there. And there's OTC trades that are happening, I think, through like Gemini and things like that. But yeah, HB, nobody's running a charity here. I agree. Nobody's doing that for free. Like, the thing for me is I use the majority of my nodes, we use that distribution. I pay payroll.
Mhm.
I'm paying payroll because I'm building stuff. I'm building Nerd Node to literally support your decentralization idea of a network.
Mhm.
But in the fact that I'm going to have to, one, either wait a long time, like I'm going to have to take all my nodes and somehow, give them to people to run, potentially somehow move them out or sell them and then fund it from there. But again, it's just a weird one. Again, I don't think it needs to be.
I mean, what do we think is the percentage chance that this proposal, as is, goes through on a node vote? It's probably pretty low.
I would say if we look at the amount of votes that are at the top now, if those top two vote yes, there's an ulterior motive. So you see 14,000 votes come through that are yes. There's an ulterior motive outside of that because they, in theory, are going to get hit the most. But again, they don't need the money. The rest of those nodes that are up there on that screen, when you look at them, they're going to vote no on that because
what
they
would
get
be the
hit
ulterior
hard.
motive? And the ulterior motive is probably to push through the tokenization of the nodes so they can offload those nodes rather than run them.
Right, but
They're
why?
running them
But why
personally.
not
They're
do
not
that?
running them for the benefit of Gala. They're
But
running
why
them
not do that
personally.
first instead of implementing this whole bonus pool situation? Why not?
I think it's to stabilize the economics on it, though. We just went through it where you're like, well, here's $4,700 a year, so therefore we can assume that somebody would pay $8,000 for his notes. Because if they don't stabilize the economics on it to the point where that is a very, very blanket open,
It's stable now because you know what the
right.
distribution is. Right now is actually more stable than if you implement this bonus pool.
But it's not as valuable because if they just 4x the distribution
Correct.
on each node, then suddenly they can sustain an $8,000 price tag. Whereas
Correct.
previously they could
That's why
only
you
really
NFT it now.
sustain a
That's why you
$2,000.
That's why you NFT it now, because the moment you go the other route, right? I think it's as in putting in the bonus pool, and the value goes right now. There's no penalty for taking Gala out.
Right.
The moment you go to the bonus pool with the penalty that goes into play, it devalues the node because now you're running a node, but you can't take it all out. You get penalized, so you don't get as much of a distribution.
Future value, future present value is also considered, though, right? Because ultimately, if they're penalizing you for taking it out, is because there is some economic purpose for maintaining the Gala within the system, which will eventually make the per token price greater.
Hopefully, but there's still sell pressure from outside sources that aren't these people. Like the majority of the Gala that gets sold, that's through Gala. I mean, they sell the majority out of anybody that's out there. So they're the one that's putting the sell pressure. They have the reason that it's down. I mean, I can't say that. They're not the reason. Crypto's down. Everything's down. Everybody's selling.
Decouple from the market in any way, or it went down at the same rate as everybody else did.
That it was a false statement on my end. It's not just their reason. There's so much stuff that's going on there. So, but,
right. So going back to the point, which is if 1 and 2, or on this chart 2 and 3, vote yes, then then we can assume that something else is
100%
missing from
100%
for this proposal.
Yeah, because it benefits them zero amount. Zero. Now, if it was tied to the NFT side, and then they kind of pushed it through to where like, ooh, you're going to get an NFT with it and to be able to sell it as well, and no KYC. Here's the other issue. The whole NFT proposal. Did you read that?
I did not.
Well, and I don't think it was actually in the proposal. I think this was all after the fact and some mentions with, I think Brink mentioned it, that there was going to be
Discord about it.
So you were going to have to pay a fee to Gala. If you sold it on OpenSea or whatever it is, you're going to pay that 10% fee. But some people are saying that they were going to make it a 50% fee. And then you have to pay to mint it to Gala. So you have to take the NFT, mint it to Gala. It can't run, by the way. So if you have to have somebody that's going to buy it first and foremost before you actually do that, otherwise you're not getting distributions because you can't run the node if it's not on the Geary chain,
right?
Or it's Gala chain now. so they're making it even more difficult for these people to sell it. So again, they're de-incentivizing the decentralization of the node. So they by implementing that stuff, they are actually de-incentivizing me to sell it. Right? Or am I missing something?
I didn't read the proposal, so I can't say if you're missing something or not.
I'm never missing anything.
I don't think so. Yeah.
No, Jesse, I don't think you can actually see votes, but usually if you're following it, you can see massive votes, because when votes go through, you can select how many votes do you want to do here. And if you see all of a sudden like 7,000 votes go through, you know it was there. Now, are they going to make it pay somebody to sit there and go one vote?
Doesn't it
one
actually?
vote?
It does say percentage of nodes voted, doesn't it?
Nodes, but not node owners. Let me see if I can pull it up on my screen real quick. And then I'll have you share
Well,
it.
there isn't an open vote though, is there? So,
well, it shows the past votes.
yeah, but I think what Jesse's asking is, during the voting process, can you see it?
Don't share my screen, Blake.
Okay.
Don't share my screen. It's the wrong one that's on there. I don't want people seeing that one.
You got something dirty pulled up.
I don't want them to see that I own 7,000. I mean, just yep. Then just kidding. See, completed polls. It shows the last vote. Here's the funny one. So the last vote got 5,000 votes. 5,000.
What was it for?
That was for, should the emissions of Gala be revised to account for total supply? This is their other one. This is their total supply, because they write total with a lowercase t and then supply as an uppercase S, UP. They're trying to coin their own total supply because of the way they're doing their burn, or their, in quotations, their burn. Because it's not a true burn. Anyways, so the one before that was 13,000. Should founders nodes license have the option to be converted to NFTs? It was a resounding yes. The one before that was 6,500. Should founders nodes implement a system of organizational approvals for game publishers? Yes. So again, July is the halving taking place this month. Should the founders node distribution? Should the founders node distribution? It says continue with a 50-50 split. It went to no. It was actually a no vote. It went to add a bonus pool to the distribution, creating a 25-25-50 distribution of all Gala distribution. So,
which that proposal's been around for a bit, right?
That was from last July.
Yeah.
That was last year. So this is the 25-25-50, right? So right now that 50 is the bonus pool, supposedly. But again, it's a new proposal every time. Does this include this last vote? Or now are we changing that again? So there needs to be so much more information that they do. And they're trying to answer the questions. The problem is they almost need a committee that can talk with Brink. Instead of like 9 million community members, you take a committee of 5 or 7 people that can go in and listen to the community, get the main questions that are answered, that want to be answered. They put it together, then they go in and they do a little AMA roundtable. That would be a little bit better of it. So June 20, you actually can share my screen, Blake. It's not showing I'm not showing all my nodes on there. So
right now it's just your charts is what I'm seeing on it.
Oh,
I have to migrate tabs.
I'll do that real quick.
Are you watching Brink's AMA in the background, Blake?
No, I was listening to it a little bit earlier, but I was trying to, but it was a little too distracting trying to keep up with both. He had one posted he posted an explainer video that was like 9 minutes long on Twitter as well earlier this morning. So
there you go. So these are the votes. Again, this was the last one. So again, if we see a massive, this was the largest one. Should they be NFTs? You had 12,000, and this was April. This was before Wright had his nodes online, and I don't think you have to have your nodes online to vote, to be honest. But again, if Eric or him vote, that's 14,000 votes. Yeah, between the two of them, or 7,000 with one if they end up voting. So it'll be curious to see what that vote count is. Obviously, a resounding amount of node owners voted, or nodes voted.
Is there not an unsaid rule where Wright and Eric don't vote in these things?
I have never seen it ever put out. I've never heard it actually
Seems
said.
like a massive conflict of interest.
Oh, please. They own, I mean, they're running between the two of them. They are the owners of the company, and they're
But I
running
think it
50% of the active
farcical
nodes.
if they do vote.
I agree.
That's what I'm saying. Is I think that they're actually both smart enough to see how farcical that would be. Is ultimately, and I know they've got beef and whatever, but
let me put it this way: if they do vote, there's a reason. And it's nothing that has to do with what's going on.
But I think if they do vote, then the farcical nature of it all becomes quite. You know, you're pulling the curtain back and saying, "Well, decentralized, schmeschmentalized."
Yeah.
What a fucking bunch of bullshit, right?
Yeah,
It's like,
so the interesting part will be to see if they don't vote. I pretty much would say that this is going to be a no vote all the way through until you can flesh it out to make it a little bit better for those heavier node owners.
And
to be
putting
incentivized
together an effort to put a counter proposal together.
Yeah, 100%. I want to look at like
that Medium article you're talking about.
Yeah, Medium article that'll have some suggestions. I'll talk with Brink. I'll send it to Brink as well. I mean, obviously, I have a massive.
Is that the one you were talking about? Eternal Paradox?
No, it wasn't Eternal Paradox.
Grit.
Let's see.
Games faster.
No. The Superior Legends Reborn. Betwixt. Oh, it did get a yes vote. I thought it got a no vote. Should Betwixt be funded 1 million USD from Gala Games, 100 million game development fund? I thought that was the one that I thought got a no vote.
They said that they were going to push it through regardless.
Yeah. I mean, they've said it multiple times.
Maybe they used some of their nodes to vote to push it through. So
who knows? I mean, look at there's only 5,400 votes on that one anyway.
Of which 285 of them are
abstained.
Abstentions.
Abstinence.
Abstinence.
I don't know. But I mean, I guess we got a lot of stuff that's to talk about still. We'll put together a Medium article. I definitely want to talk with some community members of different ideas as well, because I think it's getting lost in the shuffle over in Gala with a lot of the ideas itself. So, and again, that's why I say you almost need a community. You need a community that's focused literally on that thing. Like, okay, it's hell. Let's have the node owners vote on 6, people to be a part of this, like the community roundtable per se, to be able to then present to Gala. I know I've coordinated with Lasagna and Jay from he's doing the kind of the CRM system for the gaming side. A couple of those guys, just kind of collaborating with them on that same idea of bringing it together. But if I feel like it's running into the same problem that I had when I was trying to put the DAO together, is you get a couple people that are excited and want to start it, but there's not enough people that are excited to put the effort in to move it forward. Right. Like, or they're just everybody's busy doing their own thing. Unless you have somebody that's dedicated for, that's their job to continue to, touch on people and push it forward. It's going to be a hard one to get through. That's the problem that I ran into. So let's see here. Anything else? Anybody else asking questions on the Gala stuff that we should address here?
Someone said, wasn't it faster?
No, it was Betwixt. It was Betwixt was I was thinking of. Faster ended up, it got passed through, but then it got kicked out because their development wasn't up to speed with where they wanted it to be. And that was more recent than not. And Betwixt was the one I was thinking of. I thought people voted no on that, but apparently not. I was wrong. So, but let's look at this. Let's see. Let's move on to something a little bit more exciting.
Okay. What is it?
Well, when you come into this chair, you have to have your DGen pick.
Bonk.
Bonk.
It's bonk again. I'm going to try and
it's bonk.
I'm going to hustle bonk into being an actual coin. Oh gosh, I don't know why Splinterlands all of a sudden popping up 5%. Doesn't make any sense.
I don't know. Maybe Blake, you can pull up CoinGecko, and once you get some stuff up there like bonk. Splinterlands. I mean, Splinterlands. A lot of people like it, like the system. I know Glitch Through he keeps telling me to get in on some of their stuff, and I keep forgetting to. I own some SPS.
I own some SPS.
More than I want to own, but that
I own some SPS that I paid a lot more money for than it's worth.
I don't know if we can.
may or may not.
Sui's that's doing
Well,
nothing.
Much to the chagrin of Jake, I'm gonna do some charts here because I like charts and I'm curious to see what things look like. Oh, did you pull it up? You got bonk up. Bonk. Go to the max. If you go down to the hey, it looks like every other shitcoin out there.
Yep.
That's a nice accumulation. I mean, there's so many
Another
coins
one
right now that are in that same area of accumulation of, it's time to get them going, time to get that stuff on board.
That season's gone, right? Isn't it?
No. What season?
Shitcoin
Shitcoin season? No, this is when you accumulate the shitcoins, dude. This is the time where you say, I'm going to put $200 in SHIB and then sell it for a whole lot more in, 8 to 9 months.
8 to 9 months.
This is the you take your bankroll. This is not financial advice. You take your bankroll. Say I'm gonna take myself for example. I have $100. Well, I'm gonna be safe with 50% of that, and I'm gonna put 50% of that into Bitcoin and Ethereum because those are the two that most likely are gonna be safe and sound. Then I'm gonna take 25%, and I'm gonna put that into kind of your mid tiers, like your Souls, your AVAX, your anything top 25 to top 50. I would say would kind of fit in that in the market cap. Something that you've done research on, or been around for a while. They're building stuff. They're actually there. And you take that 25% and you put it in there. Now you have 25% left over. Now you take 20% of that and you put that into your, they're still on a market cap, but they're 100 to 300, right? They're still in that range of like they might do something. And I'm not saying randomly. You got to do research, man. Right? You got to figure it out. What's out there, and then you have that kind of distributed there. And then you take that last 5%.
You put it in bonk.
No, then you choose bonk, and you choose a whole bunch of other ones, like 20 of them.
Yeah, and you just put $10-15 in.
Yeah, and
however much is left
into all the rest of those, and then you just wait for one of those
know.
suckers to hit, then go crazy. And then,
do you know, I've always appreciated your trading strategy because it's built on mine.
Look, here's the sad part. That is not how I do mine.
Oh, no,
I go like this. I'm like, oh, I like that chart. Let's put all my money into that one. And then
right now.
Oh, good. I made some money.
Mine is still from 5 years ago where it was that strategy, which is I've got some in some stuff that I trust, and then some in some stuff that just is I might as well go to a casino and throw it on the floor.
I mean, my actual philosophy is if you're trying to distribute your investments, what do they call that when you're putting in a bunch of different stuff?
Diversifying.
Thank you. Diversification is the path to mediocrity, right?
Yep.
That's my theory I play on. I don't want to be that.
You've proved that out to me over the last couple of years.
So I personally find high conviction, and I don't want to be in the majority of my investments more than 5 tokens. That's me personally. And in all honesty, I don't suggest anybody doing this at all. Please don't do this. Because well, there's a couple of things that, one, when I say I put it into 5 tokens, I don't just go to YouTube and listen to Bob saying, hey, bonk is great. It's going to be the next biggest thing. You should invest in bonk. I do actually my own research. Like hell, Blake and I sit back and we'll go through tokenomics. We'll go through who the team is. We'll go through, what was it, 2 summers ago, Blake, or was it last summer? I don't know how many summers it's been. Feels like you've been working with me forever.
Yeah, it would have been last summer.
Because we had you with the other interns, and that was the first thing that we talked about. Was like, okay, these are the things that I look for, and we need to pull these tokens. We need to pull these companies out and see why I like them, right? I mean, the most recent, pretty heavy bet that I just did wasn't even in the crypto market. It was in the legacy market, and it was this bad boy right here.
Coinbase, huh?
Right. So for me, Coinbase was one, all the ETFs were coming through, or not coming through, but all the big boys are putting their ETF in. BlackRock's got a great record. There's a lot of positivity going in that direction that there's probably going to be a spot ETF sooner rather than later, which is great. And then a lot of them named Coinbase as their Coinbase custody as their custodial.
Right.
That's huge. So a lot of money going to Coinbase. Then, so that was the fundamental side of, and just being in the bear market, we're going to, be coming out of that soon. I feel like we've already seen the bottom. Like, this is, we got another year and a half of, sideways and then up. And so what do I look for? I look for other things that are going to be affected and not necessarily just in crypto. So Coinbase is one of those, especially when you start talking about all these other exchanges being, closed down. It's the go-to exchange in the US.
Yeah.
So then I charted, and what I saw some massive volume and accumulation in this, lower range, in that $60 range. And the pattern itself is an inverse head and shoulders. It broke out of the downward trend, and lo and behold, it's with all the news that's going out. So for me, this is a no-brainer. Now, this is a weekly one. So as I was telling a young Padawan this morning, is weekly, if you're on the weekly, your trade is going to be months to years. Okay. So you're not trading this and saying, oh, this is going to go up tomorrow to $1 million. No, it's a months to years type of trade. So I traded a couple of leaps, which I'm not an options trader. I was just like, this is long-term. So I took one out that was a little less than a year, and then one that was a little over a year. They're doing really good. I'm excited. I didn't have enough money in there. I wanted more money to buy more. I was super convicted. Super convicted. I know. I'm paying for drinks next time.
Nice.
We're good.
Okay.
So
you can pay for golf.
Done. But yeah, so I like coin. I still like coin. I like coin for long term. So
they're crypto adjacent, number one, so it's only half a step away from day to day. But also they are the ones who are set to benefit most from increased regulation.
Yep.
Because they are the people at the table having the conversation, and they're the ones who are driving some of those regulations, and they're doing it in a
interesting manner, actually.
In an interesting manner. But they will also benefit because some of their competitors will slide away.
100%. 100%.
They're just
weirdly how that all plays out.
Right?
It's weirdly how it's all narrative driven, man. And it just always proves the fact that this whole market, not just crypto, legacy markets, are completely manipulated.
Yep.
Well, let's look at this case, and we're just talking about right now with Coinbase. Like, how many lawsuits did the SEC? They were dropping all sorts of stuff. Kraken they paid a $30 million fine earlier on in the year, and then they sued Binance, they sued Coinbase, the next two top exchanges in the world. And is this whole hubbub and oh my God, crypto is going to be dead in the US. Like, it's going to be dead. Well, then let me ask you this: why in the literal fuck would every one of those ETFs, this is just a couple weeks after all that stuff went down, put Coinbase custody as who they're going to use as a custodial?
I straight up called it when they filed the freaking thing. I said, this is nothing to do with this is not punitive. This is come to the table, let's talk, let's get this regulated properly. Let's make rules that benefit the people who make rules the best. And who are best able to benefit from legitimizing some of this stuff, which the general public needs to see the SEC doing something, so they sue them. But then ultimately the outcome is, hey, we figured out Coinbase is pretty legit. Don't worry about it. You guys go ahead and do that because we're spoon feeding you some retail market bullshit. But at the top here, we all got it covered. Don't worry.
Yeah, it's a thing. But we aren't the big people that are going to make the wave, so we ride the wave, and we need to look at the.
I think overall it's positive.
I can't find with all the bad news that came out. Nothing happened.
Yeah, you just need a VPN. That's what you need.
Literally.
Well, wasn't there something in the bill that was like, we're going to send you to jail if you get caught using a VPN or some shit?
How the fuck are they going to do that?
Bro, I don't know. It's just dumb shit that they put in the bills. Like this is
stupid.
Let's roll this back around to Gala, right? This whole proposal is like a bill put forth of like what we're going to do. And then hidden inside there in 2 fucking lines is basically saying, oh, and by the way, we're going to penalize you for taking this Gala out for this node that you're running because you're providing this actual decentralized network to the actual network, but you're going to get penalized if you take it out
because it impacts our centralized business.
Tiny little spot, right? Like, so it's like, get the fuck out of here. So
yeah, it's interesting. I think one of the biggest issues that the SEC has is that, no matter what, no matter how, no matter what, they can only regulate the institutions acting in the market on US soil.
Right.
They cannot regulate. They are not the global regulators of Ethereum and Bitcoin and all these other.
No, but as Jesse will point out, they can still go after you even if you are doing business in the US and you're not following US rules. They can still go after you, which they can.
Right, but they can't regulate the actual tool.
Correct.
Is the problem.
Yeah.
They can regulate the US dollar.
Correct.
They can do that because that is their job with Treasury.
Yeah.
The government.
They're going to regulate it to death.
But they cannot. Ethereum and Bitcoin are doing their job. They are a global value store that is not necessarily able to be regulated by anybody other than the foundations that run them. I mean,
speaking of the dollar,
domestic soil is one thing.
Oh, that's an ugly chart, sir. This is just the dollar, and it's obviously people will trade the dollar against other things, but it's just showing weakness in itself. And if I were somebody that was looking at the dollar in terms of FX trading, I would say this looks like the parabolic move up. And when that crashes, what's this thing here? Right? Look at the curve. So you get your little parabolic curve. Get it to the line. There we go. And so when it breaks, usually I think Paul Brandt, he's like a classic technological trader. And he got so much shit in 2018 when Bitcoin did its parabolic move up and then broke that parabolic curve. And he's like, oh, this is going down. I think it's like a minimum of 50% from the top. Right. And so in terms of you can use fib sequences or whatever you want to use to get you that. But we are at the 50 here. This is that. But realistically, I would say we're going down below 100 if I were looking at it right. So
one quite stronger got listed as inactive, right? Do you see that?
I don't know, man. That thing was such a
awesome. I only mentioned it because we've talked about it several times on previous podcasts.
How much of a scam it was?
Yeah, but it got listed as inactive on CoinGecko.
Did it? Okay. Yeah. Well, that makes sense.
Last week or the week before.
That makes sense. CoinGecko.
And then the other one I was looking at was there's a news article that says that you should pull up Algorand.
Oh. Actually, I'm going to put some.
So one of the DeFi protocols that holds 55% of Algorand is closed and gone.
Really?
Wow.
Ouch. Ouch. That's ugly. That's ugly. That's a lot of ugliness on that sucker. I'm going to pull something up real quick here. It's a new, because everybody loves nodes. This is pure shit coinery and pure specation. I just want to put that out there before I actually click this open for people. Because we're coming up on the hour. Sorry, we'll finish. We'll wrap this up. I'm gonna drop this little interesting tidbit here, and I'll put a link in.
Oh yeah, God.
Did you look at this one, Blake?
I looked a little bit off of what you said earlier.
So again, this is a decentralized game data transfer. It's on BNB. They have their own wallet. To be completely upfront with everybody, I already bought some nodes for 2 reasons. One is I had some BNB that I found on a wallet, and 2, I wanted to test it with NerdNode. So if we push it out to NerdNode because they're charging people.
Official Squishamallow icons.
These?
Oh no, those are Doge. Okay,
those are the little Doge.
I was gonna say, it gets real interesting if it's all Squishamallow.
Kids love those things, dude.
I know, right?
So testing it for NerdNode because they're literally charging people. So if you buy it, here's the requirements for the node itself. So if you buy the node, they're like, oh, we'll run the node for you too. And they're charging $100 per month. So I'm fairly certain we're going to be a lot cheaper than that. But
Yeah.
at least NerdNode, we can offer that service if people actually go down that road. So anyways, this is one to do your own research. We will probably do an article through FIC, put that out there. And I mean, the nodes aren't selling that fast, just FYI. It's been the same. It's been the same for the last week since I've been looking at it.
It says this is not an investment product.
This is not an investment product. Oh wait, is that what it says?
It says it right there.
At the bottom it said it. Yeah.
Whatever you do, don't buy it as an investment.
It says this is not an investment product.
Only buy it if you want to
give.
Oh, here you go.
Pomerium $2,500.
Strictly prohibits any types of abnormal marketing and sales activities, including resale and multi-level marketing. You know, it's funny. I think that was on the green nodes on theirs as well. Like, oh, this is an MLM when they literally run their stuff like MLM.
And this isn't one of Wright's.
I don't think so. I didn't see his name or anything on it. So, but again, we're doing some research in house on some of the stuff on here. So,
claimable PMG.
Transfer PMG to your wallet. I don't even know what PMG is worth. I know nothing outside of initial research that I'm doing right now. So, but I'm just letting you guys in early so you can check it out yourself, see what's going on. Anyways, let's see. Where's Bitcoin? Where's Big Daddy? Big Daddy looks so good. Big Daddy.
Big Daddy.
All right, guys.
Daddy Bitcoin.
We're going to leave it there, but you'll hear more from Michael and I in the future, and hopefully we'll get some other cool guests on and talk soon.
Some cooler guests?
Some cool guests. There's nobody cooler than you.
Right.
Nobody.
Bye, Blake.
All right, guys. We'll see you. See you later.
Bye.